spooky season, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Let's give it a few. Let's see who joins. Please hit like and subscribe. As always, we're here to chat about Freemasonry. Now, today, again, these 1 a.m. streams are, I don't really have any specific topics. Rather, it's just who wants to chat about, whatever you want to chat about when it comes to Freemasonry. Any thoughts you have, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. I will not have my normal 1 p.m. stream. The reason being, I've got a Masonic event meeting I've got to run. I'm the Worshipful Master for Border Cities Lodge. So I can't do that at 1 p.m., but then I will be back on 1 a.m. And today, as you know, was National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. If you knew that, if you're following my other stream, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And I tried something interesting. We're talking about Brother Joseph Brandt, who was a Freemason and a leader of the Mohawk tribe. Out of curiosity, I typed Freemasonry into a Mohawk translation service. And what came out was, because obviously there's no direct translation, but what came as a translation was Ron Wanikan Rata. Curious if people have any thoughts as what it means. I'll give you the answer soon, but I'm going to first give you some different options and see if you can guess which one it actually is. Hello, Lon. Thank you for joining us. Let me know which one you think it actually is. I'm curious if you would guess. But Lon, how is it going? Thank you for the wave. I'll give you the wave back. I hope you'll take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. I know you've already done, subscribe, hit the like button. We're going to give it a bit of time. We're going to see who joins. No rush. But fingers crossed we get some people joining us to chat about Freemasonry. We can talk even about the government shutdown, the extent to which that may affect Freemasonry, which certainly for lodges where there is a lot of members who are government workers, it may actually have a pretty big impact. I love chicken and waffles, Steve. I mean, that sounds like some pretty great food to me. If you're, offering to purchase or send me chicken and waffles, please do so. I would very much appreciate it. Thank you. Keeps me nice and aerodynamic in my wheelchair. So I'm not going to be, the wind won't push me backwards. So we got 2 votes. Like I said, I'll let you guys know which one is correct soon. But I'm curious what people think it is. And maybe even if you wanted to guess why you think it is that, I'd love to know. But let's give it a bit of time. MSK Banks. I crawled out of a cave in Windsor, Ontario. I know I look like a bit like a caveman, but MS or NSK Banks, that's no excuse to not hit that like and subscribe button and help a brother out. Help a caveman out. Get me up to the 80 mark. Oh, did you test it? Hello, Gerald. But I mean, guessing Stonemason makes a lot of sense. It's something I would probably guess, right? Maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. We'll wait and see. Love you too, NSK Banks, with my caveman face and all. We've got, let's see, 3 votes for Stone Builders, 1 vote for Community of Stone. and 7 votes altogether. Thank you, everybody who has voted. I truly appreciate it. Please take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, etc., etc. I have no particular topics. This stream is just hanging out and seeing who wants to join and who wants to chat, which is my favorite things to do at 1 a.m. because it's too early to think of any particular, or late, pick your definition, to come with any particular topics. So if anybody has any questions about Freemasonry, I will do my best to answer them. Or if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, again, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. And if you just want to hang out with me for a bit, that's cool too. We're about 1 hour and 12 minutes into a government shutdown, in case anybody is keeping score or keeping time. So we'll see how it goes. Gerald, I think you're new to the stream. Let me know how it's going. Well, where in West Texas? I've been to Texas a fair bit, primarily in the Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington area, as well as in Gonzales. I'm from Canada, Windsor, Ontario. Well, born and raised in Winnipeg, but now live in Windsor. I feel like I've been there before, or at least I've heard of it. I can't think of from where. Was it in a song at all? Because that sounds really familiar to me. I can't say why off the top of my head. I agree. I love Canada. Oh, we got a message out for review. Gobbler. No, but Gobbler, please hit like and subscribe. Curious to see how people are. Cleveland viewing. I'm very happy that Cleveland, Ohio is viewing on me. Hello to you. Been to Cleveland once, very briefly. It was in a basically a stopover. I was driving through it on the bus. But it looked very beautiful from the bus window and from the bus depot, for whatever it's worth. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. You know, that's a really good question. I'm sure there are, but to my knowledge, I don't know of any. And that is a really interesting point, which maybe Shemshu is a clue to what the answer is. You are welcome viewing on you, and thank you for being here. Do you have any thoughts on Freemasonry? Or at least what the answer isn't, because that's a very good point that Shemshu brings up. You tend to see those more in the Mesoamerica and the Aztec, as opposed to kind of in Canada and North America. Viewing on you, I hope you hit the like button and subscribe button, and let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry. Again, positive, negative, or neutral, I'd love to hear them. But that would be really worth exploring. I should do an actual, like, full on, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a medium story about that. Be worth exploring. But I did talk, one thing I think that we in Freemasonry are failing is we tend to talk a lot about and focus on our stonemason brethren from Egypt and biblical times and Europe. We tend to forget about our Mesoamerican stonemason brethren. Freemasonry, it's a fraternity. It's a social group or a civics club derived from stonemason guilds of the 15th century Europe. I am not a cop, Jacob, but thank you for being here. I did work as a probation officer for a while, but if you're asking that because you think all Freemasons are cops, or all cops are Freemasons, then you are incorrect. But if you're asking because I look like a cop, then thank you, I guess. Cops are handsome fellas. I do know the song. It should be my theme song because I tend to worry way more than I should, and I tend to be not nearly as happy as I should be. So, no, well, there you go. In honor of me looking like a cop, Jacob, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for being here. I like the song Don't Worry, Be Happy. Is that your favorite song, Gerald? Hold on just 1 second. I'm just trying to do something quickly on the YouTubes or create a post. All right, there we go. Ace, I'll take it. I'll take looking like a cop as a compliment. They're handsome fellas, and I have no issue with law enforcement. Ace, by the way, thank you for being here. Let me know if you have any thoughts on Freemasonry, positive, negative, or neutral. I'm just hanging out, waiting to see who joins. Um, I'll take Dr. Cheesebong. Doctors are also very handsome fellas. Do I look like that Dr. McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy? Because I'll take that 100%. SGG, to talk about Freemasonry, but at 1 a.m. when I do these streams, I don't have any specific topics about Freemasonry. Rather, I wait to see if anybody jumps on as of anything that they want to talk about when it comes to Freemasonry, any thoughts they have about it. So, Ace, it is not a cult. Not everybody can see what he said there, but Freemasonry is not a cult. Freemasonry is actually a civic or fraternal organization. I have no issues with law enforcement. I was involved in law enforcement or law administration. I was a probation officer and worked in a jail for approximately 10 years. Well, it's great to have you back. Why would you say that, Go Girl? How would you define cult? And why do you think Freemasonry fits into that? Well, I mean, of course, I have issues with law enforcement. I mean, when I say none, obviously, there are many examples of law enforcement either messing up or law enforcement not just messing up but being malicious, but that's human nature. Unfortunately, humans in any field there'll be a percentage of them that are negative or bad or troublesome. I hope that we can find the positive ones and focus on the positives. Well, we don't, we have rituals that never really involve chanting. Um, I do not know what the pose means, Ace Posy. Um, okay, well, that was a bad thing. Obviously, when I say I have no issues with law enforcement, I'm speaking about my experiences personally. I should make it clear there have been many people who've had very negative experiences with law enforcement because law enforcement corruption or lack of training or bad standards or letting the wrong people into law enforcement. Obviously, those are issues. I think the solution is not to denigrate all law enforcement, but find the positives that we can, or find the good ones and hopefully support them and support them getting the training they need. And hopefully the bad ones get punished. I know that probably sounds utopian and sounds kind of off the cuff, but at 1:20 a.m. it's the best I got. I don't know, like, oh, like, do you mean like signs and symbols? There are many Masonic signs. There's not a single Masonic pose. Oh, go girl. But don't go, stay. Hit the like and subscribe button. See, that is, I think, demonstrates a lack of understanding of Freemasonry, the idea of being high enough within Freemasonry, right? I've been a Mason since 2007. I've attended over 1,000 events in 6 countries and 5 continents. Um, I am a worshipful master, master mason, 18th degree Scottish Rite. The fact that, right, I've not seen any evidence of cult-like behaviors, I think should be a sign that Freemasonry is not a cult, right? Now, obviously, you can take whatever I say with a grain of salt, and you should take whatever I say with a grain of salt. But I guess what I'd say is my experience is not a cult. In some ways, to be honest with you, I wish it was more like a cult in that, we could enforce things like attendance and participation, but we cannot. Ace, I'm not going to look up. I know of many Masonic signs, some of which involve physical poses, some of which are modes of recognition. They part of our modes of recognition involve various signs. I agree. So, no sage, how would you define cult out of curiosity? I've seen different definitions of it, but I'm curious as to how you might define it. You're speaking of Shriners, which is a pendant body within Freemasonry. So, yes, every Shriner is a Freemason first and then joins the shrine at some point in their Masonic journey. Okay, my favorite song for everybody who doesn't know is Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. My second favorite song is Prodigal by Blacktop Mojo. So if anybody wants to define cult, let me know, and I will give it another 5 minutes. Then I'm going to give you guys the answer to the question in the poll, what the actual correct answer is. Some people have got it, just for the record. Again, so go girl, you need to define cult because there's no chanting, if that helps. But let me know how you would actually define cult, and then I can respond to you. I don't know. First of all, maybe you have, Stephen. Not every Mason will say that they're a Mason. You need to keep that in mind. So, unless you're asking every person whom you received help from whether they're a Mason or not, you don't know for sure. But second, Freemasonry is not a particularly ubiquitous organization in 2025. There may not be enough Masons around to give you help. But if you, work for a charity or involved in charitable efforts and you're looking for a donation, there's no harm in, contacting them and asking for assistance. They may also not have the financial resources to provide charitable aid, if that's to what you're referring. Welcome, Lex. So what I would say, no sage, is Freemasonry, there is no pressure not to leave. In fact, I wish there was some ways, because it bothers me when people leave Freemasonry, but people are welcome to leave Freemasonry whenever they want, and there's no pressure on them to remain, nor is there any deceptive recruiting. So for those reasons, I would say Freemasonry is not a cult. He should be a Mason. I choose to believe he is a Mason, Mac 10. Welcome, Mac 10. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Not quite, Ace. Freemasons evolved from stonemason guilds of the 15th and 16th century and later adopted Templar symbology and symbolism while developing their rituals. But that was later. It went Knights Templar, then Freemasonry formed, then Freemasonry looked back to the Knights Templar in order to create some of its appendant bodies. But it did not evolve directly therefrom. Theophilus pronounced the awfulest. Hello, awfulest. That's not quite true. A lot of people think that's the case, but actually, if you look at it, it's not even a full square and compass design, nor is it a full pentagram design. To my knowledge, it's missing one of the branches. That is also incorrect, go girl. I understand many people believe that to be the case. However, Freemasonry does not push you to not believe in God. Rather, Freemasonry encourages you to be faithful to your personal religious beliefs, be they Muslim, Christian, Jewish, Indigenous or First Nations, Hindu, Sikh. So it's about respecting the right of every individual to define God based on his cultural, religious, and family and personal beliefs. When it comes to secret teachings, um, Anita Spencer, welcome, Anita. By the way, to everybody's here, even if you are not a fan of Freemasonry, I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. It sounds like Anita agrees with Go Girl. So there you go. Anita, let me know why it is you agree, and what your thoughts are Freemasonry is. Is it an empty tomb? I mean, there's the George Washington Masonic Monument. George Washington was very famous for being like an active Freemason. That's one of the things about him, right? In terms of like people who are famous for both their Masonic works and their non-Masonic works, I would say George Washington is probably the most famous. He was very active in Freemasonry, even as being the first president. Um, Yes, Joel, that is one of those humorous things, but it's just something you got to live with. Um, by the way, I'll give it another bit of time, but 21 votes. I'll give you the answers soon. My father was a master Freemason Shriner. Okay, off list. Um, Mine as well. Not a Shriner, but a Master Mason, as were both of my grandfathers or grandparents. So that's kind of a cool connection we have. Though I certainly hope no one ever calls me the off list. What are the enumerical teachings and the term master? Is that referencing the Catholic Church? No, Sage. Enumerical? Or is that referencing something else? Let me know. Well, hopefully we never have to go to war with anybody. I mean, would rather not there be any wars. The Scientologists, I welcome to do their thing. I've never met a Scientologist who's a Freemason. To my understanding, they believe in a supreme being, so I guess they could join, but I don't know enough about Scientology to say. I have a Masonic symbols, but not a family insignia. Shemshu. Oh gosh. Um, Again though, Go Girl, I'm not sure why. Thank you, Anita. I try my best. I will be back on tomorrow at 1 a.m. my time. So I'm not sure if that's your time. Anita, please hit the like and subscribe button before you go. I'd very much appreciate it. Um, Gosh, that's tough to say. Not the junior warden, not the secretary. In some ways, the junior deacon, because as the guide to the person joining Freemasonry, it's a very important role and something that is incredibly important, you know. I've found that in a first degree, if the junior deacon is messing up, then the entire degree messes up. So maybe the junior deacon. Um, I'm in Ontario, so you're at the same time zone as me. Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing you back tomorrow at 1 a.m. I'm sure it'll be a great stream, and you can ask whatever questions you'd like. Just follow, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. That way, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay, so no Sage, because I do understand other people are concerned about Freemasonry on those grounds. What is it about having Christians, Jewish, and Muslim people in a meeting together that concerns you? Because I think that's one of the greatest things about Freemasonry, and that I love about Freemasonry is the fact that it's welcoming of men and women, but men of different faiths and beliefs. I think that's its greatest strength. No, Shemshu, I've never heard of it, but I mean, I heard of it in movies. Like, I remember in the movie A Knight's Tale, they had to have like a family crest. So that's interesting, though. Joe, I would not agree with that at all. I don't believe it's all a bunch of bull. I will never be a reviler of religion. That's one thing Freemasonry teaches me, is not to ever be a reviler of religion. Anybody who can find comfort and support through their faith, and I like to think I can be open-minded enough to understand that I don't know everything, and hope that I can find some, that I can appreciate people's beliefs, even though I tend to be not a believer in religion myself. Not yet, Shemshu. I'll see if I can find it though. I know I said I would. I just have not had the chance yet, but it's on my list. Death Stark? What do I believe? Sorry. That's very true. That's very true. I mean, I definitely believe in morality, but that doesn't necessarily mean I believe in religion. Yes, it is. I have a very big forehead reverse image, but that should not stop you from hitting the like and subscribe button, for the record. And I have no idea what show nice or shoe nice means. I don't think it necessarily has to Death Stark. I think it can come from a recognition of the value of treating others well when you happen to be living within a group setting or group dynamic, and an understanding that to harm one of the group ultimately harms the entire group, including oneself. I mean, I don't believe Freemasonry is a spiritual organization. I've always shied away from that as an idea. I think it's a fraternal and civic organization, not a spiritual one. Well, you're harming the group and oneself, right? You know, uh, uh, I thought as Masons, well, we must believe in a supreme being. How we define that supreme being, some lodges will be more liberal, some will be more, I guess, conservative in the definition. Certainly, in every instance I've ever seen, Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, Sikh, indigenous gets in no problem. For me, I believe in a supreme being. I believe the supreme being is reflected through the order and the rules that govern the universe, which allows us to understand right from wrong and allows us to act in a manner that favors the good. But I would not say believe in a religious supreme being. And Satan is definitely not my lord. So Death Stark, I'm going to. He's an old YouTuber. You're calling me old? I'm not old. Here's my response to that, Death Stark. Maybe, but then we would lose some of the traditions that make Freemasonry, Freemasonry, and those traditions are important to maintain the spirit of brotherhood. Many years ago, I used to volunteer at what were called bingos. It was a way to earn money for different charities. And this was in Winnipeg. And I don't know if it's still there or not, but at the time I was volunteering at Club Regent Casino. And Club Regent had this aquarium. It was an aquarium tunnel, actually. You went through the tunnel, and all around you, there was this aquarium full of fish. Anyways, there was this school of fish all traveling together around, except one fish was off to the side. He looked like the fish in the school, but he wasn't part of the school. And I asked, I guess it was somebody who worked at the casino, because he had a uniform, like, what's up with that one fish over there? And he said, well, the fish was doing something wrong. Maybe took more food than the other fish in the school, or was being aggressive, whatever it is, and the school kicked him out. So do fish have a spirit? Do fish have souls? Or is it rather that any animal species that lives within a group setting must, by definition, develop rules of morality as a way to ensure the survival of the whole? and we have more religious and psychological terms for it, but ultimately, many animals have demonstrated a type of morality and punishment of those who would harm others within the group, um, because it harms the group as a whole. Um, Backwoods Dipper, thank you for being here. It's wonderful to have you. Again, I'm not Christian myself, but I do believe in a supreme being. Um, I don't think we're an alien experiment. I think we evolved. I do believe, again, that we evolved in a rational sense, and I believe the rationality of the universe points to a supreme being, or represents the supreme being, is even a better way to put it. I don't believe in aliens personally. Well, so we have, I don't know, Joel, what you mean by specific books. So when it comes to ritual books, every jurisdiction will have its own versions of Masonic ritual that will slightly differ. So the ritual in Florida is different than the ritual in um, Ontario, is different than the ritual in Manitoba. As are the bylaws, as are the constitutions. Every jurisdiction develops its own. If you're referring to volumes of the sacred law, then, as a general rule, you will often see a Bible used. However, I've also seen the Quran used. I've seen the Torah used. I've seen personal Bibles used. I've seen an eagle feather used for First Nations members. What I always say to people is, if you can convince me, so if you come to me to be a Freemason and you say, I believe in a supreme being and my faith ascribes the phone book as my volume of the sacred law, if you can convince me that that's a genuine belief, and having and swearing on that book will speak to your heart and your conscience, then we as Freemasons should allow it. Now, if I think it's a troll and you're not serious, then we shouldn't allow it. But it's about what speaks to your heart. In Israel, for example, and in Dearborn, Michigan, on their altars, they usually have all three main Abrahamic texts. They'll have a Bible, they'll have a Quran, and they'll have a Torah on their altars. In other jurisdictions, it's a single book. And again, I've seen physical items like an eagle feather used in place of a holy book for an Indigenous and a First Nations brother. So it's not just that. It's, again, many different holy books are used in many different jurisdictions depending on the brother himself. Um, I don't know. I do not know what a Zoroastrian is, so I can't answer. Again, you have to convince me that he believes in a supreme being, and he has a book that speaks to his heart. Because the purpose of taking obligation on a volume of sacred law is it's a way to remind your heart of the obligation you took. Right? It's the same reason in court you swear on a Bible. It's a way, or a book of your choice, in Canada anyways. It's a way, by doing that, you are expressing your conscience belief, right? And the fact that it speaks to your conscience in that manner. So court is a good way to think of it. But why, no sage? You swear oaths in court of law, You swear oaths in many different fields. You swear an oath in the military, in police, in many civil service jobs. You swear an oath. Why is the Masonic oath concerning? Then I guess they could join. What would you, no sage, what would you do? And I'm genuinely curious, what would you do if you were called to a court of law and were told to swear to, had to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, which is an oath? Where is my, I do not know what that word means. Are you trying to say conscious? I am a Mason, been one since 2007. So almost 20 years, which is crazy to think. It's been that long, to be honest. Or what if you, let's say, joined the army, no sage, and had to swear an oath to uphold the Constitution, or joined the police force? What about the military? God's son. I do not love Lucifer, one cup, and Masons do not love Lucifer. I think one cup, you may have been reading way too much Albert Pike in between watching too many videos with two girls in one cup, which nobody should look up, by the way. But I do not love Lucifer, nor do Freemasons. So do you think Christians are not able to join the Air Force because of the oath, or? I tend to be very skeptical of miracles myself. I think I'm going to be, say, Jeffersonian in that view. Thomas Jefferson famously wrote a Bible that omitted all the supernatural elements. I'm not scared. One cup. Again, I'm scared if one cup refers to the famous two girls, one cup video, which is pretty gross. But beyond that, I do not believe Jesus is Lord, nor do I believe Lucifer is Lord. To the extent that I believe in a supreme being, or the fact that I do believe in a supreme being, I believe the supreme being is represented through the rational universe, which we can understand through mathematical and scientific examination. Yes, don't look it up. It's very gross. It will. It will. My assumption was it was always fake, for the record. By the way, one cup, two bears. I still hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button, even though it sounds like you have some very incorrect views on Freemasonry. Well, if that's what you believe, then so be it, one cup. Again, I think you've been spending too much time reading some Albert Pike and listening to some incorrect ideas on Freemasonry. Okay, that's interesting. So I guess what I would say is, I have me personally, to me, I think an oath or an affirmation, whatever you call it, is a valuable way to turn one's heart towards what they're saying. So if I swear to tell you the truth, or if I take an oath to tell you the truth, it's not meant to interfere with other ideas and other oaths. It's rather meant to turn my heart to reminding me to tell the truth. Anyone can join. Well, so long as you believe in a supreme being, are of the appropriate age. You need to be at least 21 in Canada or in Ontario. Usually in the States it's 18, and you need to join the fraternal side of it, be a man. I do not know what cult. I think you mean cult rituals. We do not. We have Masonic rituals, but as I've talked about, it's not a cult. Go ahead, No Sage. You're welcome to. I think it's some type of golden cup, but I don't really understand the reference. Whenever I hear two cups, I think of the Family Guy skit, to be honest with you, the Family Guy joke about it. Well, Richard, yes, I am a Conehead indeed. And because I'm a Conehead, you should hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you for being here. I'm going to give the answer at 2 a.m. before I sign off about what the translation is for the record. Interesting. So 24% they love each other, 28% stone builders, 17% community of stone, square and compass 31%. I stay positive on here because it's YouTube. It's not the same as, I can be pretty upset in real life. I am special. Judge, not just my mom, but many people have thought I was special. However, what they mean by special is a very different question. They are. Many things are made of stones. Sometimes coincidences are just coincidences. They are not satanic, Mohammed. That's what your name was, if I recall correctly. Well, I mean, I thank you for sharing that, No Sage. I guess what I would say is to me, an oath is not about lying or not lying. It's simply stating something you intend to do. You take an oath to, and whether you call it an oath or affirmation, I'm ultimately not sure what the practical difference would be. Um, but it's an interesting point. I mean, I guess what he's trying to say is if you're going to use an oath to then hide a lie, you shouldn't take an oath at all. But I think that's true for just everything in life. It's just good advice. Because that's just another way of lying with an extra step. What would I do if you could do anything? If I could do anything, I would try to make the world a better place um, for those around me. Just one. Gosh, what a question. If I could do anything and just had one wish, I would wish that the people who love me find happiness. I mean, I guess, because I could say I would just wish that the people of the world are able to find happiness within their lives. But I don't know if that's too broad of a wish, and that, I don't know what the rules are. I would wish that those with whom I come in contact with, I am able to make their lives better in some way. Um, I would hope that I could do that. Um, I don't know if everyone is happy, Judge, but I hope they are. I can't read that from upside down. Parasitic, whatever the rest of your thing is. Um, I mean, I guess a slave would be by definition the property of his or her owner. I hope that slavery ceases to exist within. I know it still does exist around the world. Sadly, I hope less so, and I hope eventually it is just a relic of the past that exists in no places. Um, I like how you added "I guess" at the end of that, but I like to think I am knowledgeable and intelligent. That's not to say I can't always learn more. I hope I can learn more. I would get very bored in life if there wasn't more to learn. And we in Freemasonry are called upon to make a daily advancement in Masonic knowledge. If I were to, learn everything, then I guess I would reach a point where I would not be able to make that daily advancement anymore. So take that for whatever it's worth. I was relatively quick. I got my second degree about 3 months after my first. And then I got my third about 2 months after my second. It can, but I think it can if it's being practiced incorrectly. Again, I'm not meaning to defend religion per se. I would not call myself religious, but I've known many religious people who are intensely curious. It really does depend on the individual. You don't have to be clipped to join Freemasonry. Um, Anybody is welcome to join. Again, it has nothing to do with whether you are quote unquote clipped or not. I do not want to be part of any organization that checks for that, believe me. If that was part of the application process, I would not be a Mason. Um, Nor do you need to or not be clipped to hit the like and subscribe button, so please do so. I don't think that's the case. I know many people of religious faith who are curious about things outside of serving God, who are curious about scientific. I mean, Newton would be the classic example of it. I have no idea what skull and bones do, but Freemasonry does not. Um, I'm happy to say. About to say, okay, good, because about to say, no, Sage, if that's what you think, then boy, have I missed out on some stuff. My Masonic experience has been incredibly bored. Joel, I'm trying to do this for a living. So if you want to help me do this, please join my Patreon. Patreon.com/square and compass. Patreon.com/square and compass. You can join for $3 a month. You can join for free. That even helps out quite a bit. Thank you. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button if you've not done so in honor of me being cool. Well, I mean, Skull and Bones, to my knowledge, is a fraternal organization out of colleges. It's basically part of the Greek system, I believe, but I'm not as familiar with it as I am with other organizations, so I couldn't say for sure. I believe, though, even some presidents have been members of it in the past. Fair enough. Honestly, it's not even Masonic literature per se, but Freemasonry for Dummies, I would say, is my favorite piece of Masonic work. It's the one I always recommend to people who are not Masons but want to learn more about Freemasonry. My favorite piece of Masonic literature might be the Regius poem or the Halliwell manuscript of 1390. Which I've actually read on the past stream. So on a past stream. Yes, I concur. What about you, Joel? What is your favorite piece of Masonic literature? Well, there's the Regius poem, and then there's the Anderson Constitutions. There's others as well. So, yeah. By the way, in case anybody's randomly curious, we are about 1 hour and 53 minutes into the U.S. Shutdown of the government. We really don't stick to. I mean, it's not impossible that if I happen to join a Masonic lodge, I'll meet a brother who's looking for work, and I get, I've got an in to give my resume to. But people who are joining Freemasonry for networking are more often than not disappointed, because Freemasonry is not ubiquitous enough to really benefit people in networking sense. Death Stark, I get that all the time on this stream. What can you do? Um, well, let's not do that, Stephen, because I know some people in the States who work for the government. I'm sure they'd like to keep working. 33rd degree is an invitational degree in Freemasonry in the Scottish Rite. It's kind of an honorific degree, and the final part of the Scottish Rite appendant body. Sorry, Slurms, this is my voice. I wish I could have a, more appealing voice, but way to make me now self-conscious about my voice, Slurms. Please hit the like and subscribe button, though. I need all the help I can get with this nasal voice of mine. That's generally good advice, No Sage. Actually, I'd say that's good advice for pretty much everybody. That sucks. I'm sorry that your brother's losing his job. I hope he maybe gets it back after the shutdown. In the States, I guess whatever the bill is that's necessary to maintain the funding of the government. It shut down at midnight. That makes me very happy, Dream Seeker. That definitely makes me feel better. Thank you so much. I will take it 100%. The poll on top right, I do not know what that means. FD, I'll answer if you hit the subscribe button to that question. All right, we're going to give it another 5 minutes, and I'm going to end this stream because I got to get ready for tomorrow. I have my official visit in about 8 hours. Well, it was the, I think it wasn't like, it was the actual budget bill, right? The bill that was necessary to fund the government to pay the bills. Um, Obviously 2 hours, and the effects really aren't being felt at this moment, but I'm sure they're going to be start to be felt very soon. It'll be 24 hours, 1 a.m. No 1 p.m. stream like I normally do because I've got my, um, no, FD, you are wrong. Uh, got my official visit. This Slurms does not like my voice nor my stream, so be it. I'm still happy he's here. If you stick around, you'll learn what the Mohawk word means, so that's got to be something. That has to count for something. Yes, most jurisdictions have them. By and large, most jurisdictions have official visits. Official visit, by the way, in case anyone's curious, is a chance for our Masonic leadership within the district to learn about both our proficiency in ritual and proficiency in business. Or not business, administration is a better term for it. We say business, but really, since we as Freemasons aren't making money, what we mean is our proficiency to do the administrative tasks of the lodge, minutes, correspondence, things of that nature. Why is harming others or yourself bad? Oh my gosh, no, Sage. That is what a question that gets into. Don't you worry, I will not. I've got the goat downstairs. So I understand, no Sage, that it seems as though at a certain point you're begging the question. When I say it's bad to harm others because it causes harm to the group of which I'm a part, you say, okay, why is that bad? Because it harms me. Why is it bad that I'm harmed? Because it is, but why, right? Unless, you try to find a regress beyond just turtles all the way down. That's true. Here's what I'd say, and this is kind of an answer I've given in the past. No, Sage, and obviously you may disagree with this, but one of my favorite quotes of all time, it's 4 words, and I read it in this book called, there you go, BK, welcome, thank you for being here, called The Troop, and it's about a group of Boy Scouts who are basically marooned on this island, and they come in contact with someone who's infected with this disease. It basically infects people with parasitic worms. And thank you, I like these tats. And they can't get off the island, and they have to hide from this guy lest he infect them with these parasites. And they have no food. So they decide to kill and eat a turtle. And they capture this turtle, and they think, how hard can it be to kill and butcher a turtle for the meat? It turns out it's incredibly hard for them to do it. They make a complete hash of it because the turtle keeps fighting them and fighting them and fighting them, and keeps trying to get away. And even though it's slow, it doesn't die from it. Just keeps on surviving for longer than they think it should. And at one point, one of the kids says, things want to live, right? The turtle, I don't know what's going on in the turtle's mind, but the turtle doesn't have the same mental capacity we have. It's not thinking about itself as having value in the sense of a soul or God or whatever it is. It just wants to live because it wants to live. And that, to me, is an indication that the turtle is of value and harming it is bad. Now, that doesn't mean you can't kill animals to eat them. I think that's fine because we're also animals. What I'm saying though is there's a recognition on some level that because that things want to live, therefore there's a value in those things, right? Even if I mentally want to harm myself, my body wants to keep living. The default setting is value in the self. Every heartbeat tells me there's a value to me. Every time I get sick and my body heals itself or tries to heal itself, I'm told there's a value to my existence. Every time I experience pain, that tells me that there's a value to my existence, right? My body has evolved to have an intrinsic value and to want to protect itself. And that should be enough, right? I don't need necessarily a religious or spiritual understanding to recognize that when my body protects itself in the various ways it does, that's an expression of value. And that's an expression that there's something here worth protecting. I don't think you need to go beyond that. I don't think you need to say, I need to believe in a Christian God to recognize that value, right? If I touch a hot stove and pull my hand away, that is on some level my body, even beyond conscious thought, recognizing that there's a value to me, at least to my hand, not being hurt. Why should we do the things? Why should we? Hello, Baba Rancho. Please like and subscribe. That is true, Joel. The question then becomes, well, we should. We can do whatever we want, but I think we should recognize that if the thing we want to do harms others, and we are part of a group, and we rely on the group to survive, to harm the group harms ourselves. And on some basic level, harming myself is bad. I know that because my body doesn't want me to. My body is trying to stop me from harming myself. Even if I do want to harm myself, on some level, my physical self will try to stop it. Again, if I say, I want to self-harm, and I start to, let's say, cut myself, my body will still try to stop the bleeding. It will try to coagulate the cuts. It's me going against, if you want to view it this way, my natural programming. And that tells me there's a value to this vessel, this body, right? So it's like if I want to hurt myself, let's say by drinking alcohol to a great extent, on some level, my body is going to tell me that's not okay. I can do it anyways, but there's some recognition on a physical level that this is not good. Especially the next day when I have a hangover. Right? I just think that's enough. Well, to help me grow up, hit the like and subscribe button. Well, I think so long as you have some type of rational understanding of cause and effect, and so, for example, you understand 2 + 2 = 4, or whatever that rational understanding is, then you should listen to whatever mental functions are telling you what the best outcome for the group and for the whole will be. No, Sage, have you ever seen the movie Lincoln from 2012? Well, they do because we're imperfect, but hopefully we don't do those things to excess. Same thing. I think no stage. Like, did you ever see the movie Lincoln, starring Daniel Day-Lewis? Because this goes into this idea of Freemasonry as well and geometry as being moral understandings. So one of the parts I really love in it is Lincoln has a decision to make. He has to decide, and it's a moral decision. He has to decide whether he wants to potentially shorten the war, absolutely, at the cost of not getting an end to slavery right away, or does he prolong the war, but at the benefit of ending slavery once and for all? And he has to make this moral choice, and he is discussion with a couple of his staff, and he mentions Euclid's axiom, right, which is a geometric principle. Things equal to the same thing or equal to each other. Now, that's a geometric principle, but he, as we as Freemasons are taught to do, makes a moral judgment from that. And he decides, well, if, if people, whether white or black, are equal to God, they must also be equal to each other, and therefore slavery is wrong. Therefore, the focus should be on ending slavery. And the point I'm trying to make is he's able to create a rational understanding of the universe. He's able to create a moral understanding of the universe through geometric principles and through rational thought. And is able to understand that by harming black people, he ultimately harms himself and the country and makes the choice based on that. So I believe so long as you have a rational understanding of the world around you, you are able to form a rational understanding of morality that does not require religious text or scripture, right? You're able to, for example, understand the desire to live on a biological level and compute morality into that biological desire. I don't love Baphomet. I did read the Euclid Elements. I'm a big fan of Jesus and the Bible, but I would not describe myself as Christian. But I mean, I think you can apply that across the board, right? So, why should I not? I mean, and people do, and that's fine. People aren't perfect. People have fun. Why should I exercise regularly? Well, because when I exercise regularly, I feel better. That's a rational outcome of that decision. Therefore, I can compute a morality into it of it's good to exercise because in the long term, my body feels better. And I can compute more rationality from that in terms of things like the healthier I am, the less resources I will take up in the hospital, which means those resources are saved for other people who may need it. If I don't have a heart attack, that means the bed is safe for someone who maybe has medical conditions, as well as I'm better enabled to exert my talents to help others if I'm healthy, right? I don't think that is at all the case, Joe. I'm not a fan of that, Joe. I appreciate Sage being here. And I believe that Jesus would very much appreciate Sage sticking up for her opinions. So good for her. I love the Elements. I think every Mason should read the Elements. I guess for me, I've always believed that a contingent ought is morality in and of itself. But I believe we can find those contingencies again. So I touch a hot stove, I pull my hand away. I do that without thinking about it. It's a reaction that transcends thought, but it's still a moral thing to do, right? Because it's the body acting in a moral manner to protect itself. Not all morality requires thought. It's rather, I think, oftentimes a biological reaction, more so than anything else. David, please hit like and subscribe. No Sage is a man. Well then, I don't know why I think because Sage, I always think of as a female name. So no Sage, sorry, I am sure that Jesus would appreciate his being here. And I appreciate the fact that Sage, he is sharing his beliefs. And good for Sage. And I definitely don't want to get into a theological debate on this because I'm way over my skis. I can only give you my view on what theology is based on my understandings. David, please hit like and subscribe. To everybody watching this, please hit like and subscribe. I'm 2 subscriptions away from 2,590 subs. And please, I hope that you guys will also join my Patreon. I do. If you go to Square on Instagram, Square and Compass Promotions. All right, guys. I think I'm going to end this stream, though, because I have a busy day tomorrow, and it's 2 in the morning, and I still have a bunch of stuff to do. In case anybody is curious, the answer to the poll question, Freemasonry translates as Rowan Ikon Hatra in Mohawk. What does it mean? What it means is they love each other. You would think it would be stone builders or community of stone even, but no. But I thought that was really cool and really special. Especially because yesterday was National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, which is a day to honor those First Nations, especially the First Nations children who were taken to residential schools. Still, Smokey, it's good to have you here. Thank you guys so much. I hope I'll see everybody soon. David, verse in the Bible. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son to die, I think, or to save it. I actually forget the rest. I will take it because Matt Damon is a very handsome fella. All right, guys. See everybody soon. Thank you all for being here. 24 hours, 1 a.m. next stream. All right, bye. It's always good advice, even though I never smell good.